Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for attending this Global Metaverse Bootcamp. My name is Bo Yan, and I'm the Vice President of Ecosystem at Matrix. A few housekeeping rules before we get to start our program today. The first, if you have a question, please type in the QA function in the YouTube Live. We'll select one or two questions if we have extra time between each session. The two is please no spamming. If you're spam, it will be marked and moved from the event immediately. Okay, I'll talk a little bit on why we have this event, and then we'll have our opening address for a bootcamp before the session was started. So the metaverse has been a very hot topic recently, with Facebook and Microsoft both staking claims. Technologies of 5G, AI, cloud computing, and blockchains, including token economies and cryptocurrencies, have contributed to the emergence of the metaverse community. So this event is intended to provide you not only the introduction level metaverse knowledge, but also an immersive experience of the development process on blockchain games. You will team up with global talent developers and engage with industrial talents. So Metaverse Bootcamp will escort the innovation and growth of our campus and developers, gathering for them the resources from the top-rated capital and connections to the worldwide metaverse ecosystem. And it is my great honor to announce that the first Global Metaverse Bootcamp has officially launched. Our first guest speech to the opening address is Mr. Xiao. He is the CEO of the White Matrix. Mr. Xiao, are you ready for the speech?
Yeah. All right, thanks, Bo. So, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Global Metaverse Bootcamp.
Recording in progress.
My name is Xiao, but you can call me Lin, which is my developer name. I'm the CEO of White Matrix. First of all, thank you very much for joining us. The Global Metaverse Bootcamp is proud to be one of the first events created specially for metaverse developers. We have held developers' activities in more than 40 countries in Africa, in Russia, Canada, and other countries. We have discovered that the blockchain industry has limited possibilities for expansion via pure blockchain technology from our community of developers. However, it is these groups of developers who have explored the ultimate possibilities of the blockchain technology. From 2017 to today, I've seen plenty of talented developers pull off amazing feats. We can imagine that such developers are the drivers of the blockchain world, and it is these same developers who will be the pathfinder of the whole metaverse. As I said, I really appreciate that developers from different countries can connect through this event. We strive to support the blockchain ecosystem and grow together with the community. In this Metaverse Bootcamp, we invited guests from both academic and industrial areas. We hope to provide an insightful program over the next 3 weeks. I hope you all enjoy this event. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for speaking, Mr. Wu. The next honored guest is Alen. He's the partner of Yuanyu Ventures. Alen, you may now start your speak.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Alen from Yuanyu Ventures. Thanks, Xiao invited me, and it's my honor to be here to make the opening address of Global Metaverse Bootcamp. First, please let me make a brief introduction of Yuanyu Ventures. Yuanyu Ventures is founded in early this year. We are focused on Metaverse and Web3, and we have invested many excellent teams like RCT, Crypto, C, Mask, Blockto, Game Creator, Penlai, White Matrix, NFT Scan, Decentralization, and so on. And we have an indie game fund. We are always expect to talk with excellent teams who want to build in the metaverse. After Roblox IPO in early this year, the metaverse is rapidly growing, both in cultural awareness and in financial terms. accelerated by Facebook meta name change last month, since the concept is slowly starting to become more mainstream, as several big name companies are embracing it, like Microsoft and Unity. Without any doubt, we are in the next chapter of the internet and the technology. Actually, the idea of creating an alternative digital universe isn't new. It has always existed in games and on the website. But before blockchain, without blockchain technology, Metaverse will be incomplete because everything was stored in the centralized network. NFT and blockchain technology allow us build on and monetize innovative decentralized assets at the very first time. Yeah, and thanks for those, we can finally have ownership of our assets decentralized, but it's so new to us that we will need new forms of organizations, and since we have new incentive mechanism empowered by crypto, so we believe the metaverse based on Web3 is a very big social experiment, and we call it MVP of government at this very early stage. And there are full of innovation opportunities, like we can creating new platform, like OpenSea as as the biggest NFT marketplace, and the Gala, a very big decentralized gaming platform, and we can creating new business model like visual land sales, a landing operation, or visual fashion like Artifact, or PFP market like BAYC and Doodles. We can creating new jobs like Xfinity. You can earn real money by gaming, fighting, and selling digital creatures in this game. And during a COVID period, the Philippines have seen a huge rise in their incomes through Xiao. And we think there will be more and more new jobs in the visual world. We can create new form of organization. More and more institutions and teams choose DAO as their form of organization, like the Lao, Flamingo DAO, and many decentralized programs, government via Snapshot. We expect to see the more DAO in different fields and explore more possibilities. We can create new tools like Snapshot for government, Clubland for verifying your NFT in Discord, NFT landing tools, since there are some game assets are too expensive for newcomers and SaaS of guilds in the future. We can creating new finance paradigm, since our activity will be on-chain and transparency in the future. We think algorithmic stablecoin pegging some visual CPI in one MMORPG may make sense. When these MVPs are successfully verified, there will be a large number of centralized organizations speeding up the interest and quickly improving the user experience. For example, Axie is proven working in less than 1 year. A large number of game studios have entered the blockchain industry, and I believe we will be able to play better games in the next year, maybe AAA. As decentralized is proven working too, the Coca-Cola and Atari have already built their building on it. In the future, more and more centralized organizations will build their buildings on Sandbox, decentralized, or Matrix world. This traditional centralized organization will bring a metro technology like 5G, AR, VR, AI to blockchain industry, so user experience will rapidly improve. We believe that this closing point will come soon, and all have already arrived. Once it comes, we are not far from the classic film, Ready Player One. So congratulations to everyone here at a very, very early stage, full of opportunity. And so we believe that on this so early stage, excellent people and teams are the most important. Therefore, we and the Vitaliks jointly launched the Global Metaverse Bootcamp to help everyone here and the developers and entering the Metaverse earlier and smooth. After attending this 4-week-long camp, you can meet the best teachers like Xiao here, not only explore the possibility and direction of Metaverse, but also go deep into the development of blockchain technology. And you will have an immersive experience of the whole process of blockchain game development, access to global Metaverse ecosystem resources, opportunity for the industry's top captain provide. At the end of this speech, I wish you all the best. The future of the Metaverse is infinity, covering everything from technology to art, media to entertainment. We are at very, very early stage, and I hope you can find what you love in the exploration and create your own value at this important period of development in the history. In Metaverse we build. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking, Alen. We'll move to the lecture 1 for our bootcamp course. The first topic is From Blockchain to Metaverse from Mr. Wu. Welcome.
Hello, can everyone hear me? Is my voice okay?
Yes, definitely yes.
Okay, cool. So now I will do the first lecture. So hello everyone, my name is Xiao, as I mentioned. But you can also call me Ling, which is my developer name on the GitHub. I'm the CEO of Vitaliks. It is a great pleasure for me to have this online session with all our friends. Today, my topic is From Blockchain to Metaverse. I will start with a brief self-introduction to you so you guys can know me a bit more. I'm currently the director of Yangtze River Blockchain International Innovation Center and the CEO of Vitaliks. I pursued my bachelor's and master's degrees at the University of Alberta from 2009 to 2015. In 2019, I collaborated with Dr. Wei Cai, and our manuscript An Interoperable Avatar framework across multiple games and blockchains was accepted to the top-ranked conference IEEE InfoComm. In 2020, I was awarded the first prize in the China Blockchain Development Contest. I also do some research in the field of blockchain, and I have been invited to give public lectures and seminars at many universities. So, last but not least, I'm also a coder. Yeah, I still write code and a dev designer. I've created several dev games, and I have extensive experience designing smart contracts. Okay, that's enough about me. Next, I will tell you some cool things about Vitaliks. So Vitaliks is a technology company that specializes in the research and development of blockchain middleware and global developer ecosystem. ChainID, which was developed by Vitaliks, is a cutting-edge cloud-based blockchain integrated development environment that supports blockchain ecosystem such as Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. And Vitaliks has raised 5 rounds of financing, total around $15 million from several companies, including Ant Group and HashKey. And let's talk a little bit about ChainID. ChainID enables users to quickly invoke, query, develop, and deploy the underlying blockchain system services through simpler settings and commands. As of November 2021, ChainID has assisted the developers in more than 185 countries with over 8.5 million smart contracts compilation services and 70 million blockchain middleware flows worldwide. As the main flow entrance, ChainID intends to facilitate developers to explore new territories in the world of blockchain for easier flows and more innovations. Up till now, ChainID supports Facebook Diem, on-chain, Ethereum physical beacons, and 10 more significant blockchain infrastructure. And yeah, we are proud of the global developer ecosystems that we have developed. We offered free 8 weeks comprehensive course on masterclass to develop across 40 countries in Africa. thus establishing a connection with the local developers and communities on the continent. The masterclass course has a view count of more than 100,000 on YouTube and has helped more than 1,000 African blockchain developers, thus incubating more than 15 blockchain projects. We co-host the BMDS 2021 webinars with the University of Alberta to explore issues relating to data science of blockchain and multimedia. Professors from University of British Columbia, University of Alberta, and the Chinese University of Hong Kong Shenzhen, and industry experts from Citibank, Vitaliks, Best Buy, and Alta ML jointly held a 3-day seminar with more than 30 students' projects on display. We also present our technology and developer ecosystem to G20 Young Entrepreneurs Aliens. We have also made many connections with thousands of smart contracts designers in Indonesia and Singapore. We continuously exert ourselves at building up a worldwide blockchain developer ecosystems with the belief that the developers will bring out countless innovations and practical applications to this industry. Next, I want to talk about NFTs and Metaverse today. The cute kitties you see now are called crypto kitties. Wait a minute. I think there's some noise. I'm not sure where it comes from. Okay, never mind. The cute kitties you see now are called crypto kitties. This was the first step in the world that allowed people to have a cat on the blockchain. The technology behind this cat is called ERC-721. It is a standard for creating and trading NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. Sorry, okay. CryptoKitties was widely successful, and after that, NFTs boomed in the world. And there's one sentence I should say, big names are hyped about NFTs. So one recent example is the Olympics NFT made by NWay and Flow, which is the official NFT collections for Tokyo 2020. IOC published the Olympics Heritage Collections NFT in 2021 on June 17th. The main theme is traditional Olympics arts and design. They are split into common, real, epic, legendary 4 levels and different prices, I think. I also go there and buy. I try to use USDC and Visa to buy these NFTs. And all of these NFTs are sold out within 24 hours, I think, at the first pre-sale. Yeah. We also have seen TikTok publish an NFT announcement in the New York Times. Facebook changed its name to Meta and become a Metaverse company. Microsoft said all tech companies will get into Metaverse and show the world their Metaverse project Mesh. There are too many cases, and I will use the rest of time try to answer 3 questions. The first one is, why do we need the Metaverse? So to answer this question, I first want to introduce what the Metaverse is. Metaverse was coined in Neil Stephenson's 1992 science fiction novel, Snow Crash, where humans as avatars interact with each other and software agents in a 3D dimension virtual space that use the metaphor of the real world. The novel is really interesting, but it is very thick and take time to finish reading. The 2018 film Ready Player One is a great visual interpretation of the metaverse. So why do we need the metaverse? Let's think deeper about this question. It is a well-known fact that the resources on Earth are limited. Many of our precedents have tried to find new market in the past 100 years. If not, there are cruel battles and conflicts for the innovate market. I think now there is a word called involution. It's very popular online. I mean, there are a lot of involved market. They have cruel battles and conflicts and even wars in both business side and political sides. Yeah. Now I want to explain here. In the age of exploration, the European seafarers tried to convince the king to give them money so they could build ships and explore the sea. They also have brought some rumors such as the city of gold. If they can find the city of gold, all the European people will be wealthy. I think this is one way they try to find a new market. Of course, we know they didn't find the city of gold, but they did find a new market in the end. New trading routes were established and many new opportunities arose. Many people my age may have played a game called Uncharted Waters. The game is set in the age of explorations. Now the story also continues. I mean, we see the SpaceX and the exploration of the space. The goal is kind of similar. If we can find a new terrestrial planet, then all of the people on the Earth will be kind of happy. So some friends may agree with this point. They say, okay, I agree with your point, but why most people are happy in the past decades? We feel global recessions when coronavirus happened, but before that, everything seems cool. This is because of the internet boom we have had in the past decades. We have seen a lot of big names come out of the boom, such as Google, Microsoft, and Amazon. Now, these big companies have access to the international market and they provide services worldwide. This is also a brand new market, and most international companies boomed in the last few decades. And nowadays, many internet companies also feel anxiety and looking for have a new area. This is because the internet services have already connected everywhere, which means there will be battles for the involute market again nowadays. So if we want to create an everlasting new market, what will we do? So as I written in this PPT, from limited to unlimited, we need a paradigm shift. To move from a limited market to an unlimited market, this is where the metaverse come in, I think. Yeah, the metaverse can create unlimited experience with really low marginal cost, which is code. If we can create a metaverse, it can provide billions of people with knowledge, opportunities to collaborate, entertainment, and the real world will only need to generate electricity. This will create an incremental market because we can create everything with code in the metaverse. In the recent years, there haven't been any significant technical breakthrough, and the world is unstable again. We see tense situations between countries and a turbulent world economy. This implies that we are in a global recession now. We really need to build the metaverse to create an incremental market. And in the metaverse, code is kind of miracles with endless possibilities. The second question will be, why does the metaverse need blockchain? So for the blockchain, I still agree with the Economist published the article named The Promise of the Blockchain in 2015, I think, 2015. It tells about the operating logic behind Bitcoin and blockchain and what roles this trust machine can play in the future. I agree with this article, and we will start from this point. Now, there are two kinds of metaverse in the world. So we all agree that we need to build the metaverse. But the key question is, which type of the metaverse do we want to build? The first one is just like Tencent proposed. It is a lifelike virtual reality on the internet. I think most big companies want to build this type of metaverse. This kind of metaverse is immersive and lifelike, but it is still controlled by the big names. There's one example I can use to explain this point. No matter how realistic this kind of metaverse is building, you probably cannot play the games from their competitors in this metaverse. This is just a closed system. If you want to use another application from another company, you need to log out and use another platform. And the other kind of metaverse is a blockchain-driven metaverse. In the blockchain industry, everyone is connected. There is a distributed ledger that contains all of your cryptocurrency transaction data. There are smart contracts that have Turing-complete logic and store your game assets such as NFTs. All dApps can get in and know your information about your NFTs, and your equipment can be used in multiple games and applications. This is a huge difference. A blockchain-driven metaverse is open, interoperable, and connected. The third question will be how we build the metaverse. Here I propose 3 elements to get the genesis of the metaverse. The first element is perception layer. So the perception is a layer we perceive the metaverse. There are a lot of opportunities in this area, such as VR, AR, MR, game engine, ray tracing algorithms, rendering algorithms, and brain-computer interface, and etc. There are a lot of things and opportunities in this kind of layer. And the second one is regulation. This is the layer that blockchain should jump in. In this open, connected metaverse, all the main rules should be transparent and auto-executed. If there is no blockchain involved, we can only build isolated world with closed ecosystems. I mean, blockchain means Web 3.0, means open source native, means connected. Every code on the blockchain may be written in Solidity and Cadence. Everything is open, and you can see every sources of the code. This is beautiful. And for the third part, mass production, I always think the mass production should be, I think the mass production should be 5G, 6G, IoT, edge computing for something. Now I really believe the mass production should be UGCs and AIGCs. In the future, AI will help us generate fantastic metaverse, and we can learn, we can create, and we can enjoy the endless world in the metaverse. Next, I want to show you some metaverse projects nowadays. We go back and we see, we have TikTok publish an NFT announcement in the New York Times. This one is really interesting because we know TikTok is really big names, and they try to act like an internet company, but why they try to decentralize themselves? I think this is related to some punishment from the US government, and they also want to try to use NFTs to connect it more creators and the YouTubers, I think. And we also have Meta, and we have Nash. And behind TikTok, they try to build the NFT systems. We have Immutable X. So this one is very interesting. I think in the future, many blockchain projects and blockchain teams will collaborate with some centralized big names such as TikTok. This is the first case I want to show you, is the collaboration between TikTok and Immutable X. The second one is Metaverse Seoul. I mean, this is a really centralized cities, and they love Metaverse. They want to build the realistic Metaverse. But in this case, they didn't have the blockchain-driven Metaverse at first. I mean, at present, they didn't have the blockchain-driven Metaverse. But what they want to provide is a Metaverse social services, such as Metaverse journey and Metaverse city views, education, and something about that. And this one is one approach from the centralized world, try to build the Metaverse and show their city to the world. And the next example is really interesting. This one is kind of city DAO. We all know Miami try to issue their Miami tokens, and all the citizens in Miami will get the profit from the proof of work of Bitcoins, because they try to get the Bitcoins, mint the Bitcoins as a city site. And they will have their tokens, and in this news, you will see the mayor of Miami try to explain what they are doing and explain all the things to their citizens, that we will go to generate more Bitcoins and we will share that with all of you, and you will have your tax returns, you will have your education, and even your medical healthcare with blockchains and USDCs and US dollars. The next case will be Flow at NBA Top Shot. So Flow is a company that they build CryptoKitties.
Recording stopped.
As I mentioned, this is the first step in the world. After that, they built several interesting dApps such as Cheese Wizard and also NBA Top Shot. Nowadays, if you are a fan of NBA, you can try to get the NBA Top Shot NFTs on Flow's ecosystems. And lots of NBA superstars, they also try to sell the NFTs to their fans. And I think the revenue is really good. They generated about $100 million US dollars in 1 month when everyone are hyped about the NFTs. The next example I want to show you is some blockchain-driven metaverse. So for Sandbox, for Decentralization, for CryptoVoxels, they are kind of the blockchain-driven metaverse. All their NFTs, I mean, their lands, they are a kind of a beacon on the blockchain. And usually, I think most of them, I mean, all of them, they are written in Solidity, and their NFT lands, they are kind of ERC 721, exactly the same standard with CryptoKitties, as I mentioned. And these are some Metaverse projects that has already come out. And also we have some new blockchain Metaverse projects boomed this year. For example, Matrix World. It is also our best friends, and in our ecosystems, we try to help them to build their Turing-complete metaverse, and everyone there can code and they can connect their dApps in different ecosystems, such as the developers in Flow can try to interact with Ethereum's dApps, and also the friends in Ethereum's ecosystem can try to buy NFTs from Flow side. What they use is the middleware technology. They can interact with different blockchains. And also we see some Blocktopia is very popular recently. We see some 3D immersive blockchain-driven metaverse boom this year. And these are some cases, and I just want to try to give you a general idea about the metaverse, because I know the following instructors, they are more professional than me, and they will give you much more details about the metaverse. And here is my topic today. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you for wonderful lecturing. Since we still have time here, we have one question for you. The question is, how are we expected to see connections between Metaverse and our social networks in the next 5 or 10 years?
Oh, for the social networks, I mean, this question is interesting. We will have our third lectures from Musk, and what they are doing, they focus in Web 3.0, they focus in social network, and they have collaborations with some big companies, I think. So for the metaverse, I think the social connections in the future may all transport into the metaverse, because we have coronavirus. We cannot go outside, and we cannot have some gather, maybe, I'm not sure. But we can play games together, we can learn together, and we can travel together in the metaverse. Everything, we have the people's interact, we have chat, we have everything. Maybe in the future, we'll all transport into the metaverse. And this one should be interesting, yeah.
Thank you for your elaboration. We'll move to the second lecture. The topic is Metaverse for Social Good, Thoughts from University Perspective, from Professor Wei Cai. He is the assistant professor at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, Shenzhen. Professor Cai, are you ready for the speech?
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes, very clear.
Okay, great. Okay, first of all, thank you for the invitation. Well, today I'd like to share our views from our from university perspective regarding Metaverse. As a university, especially for public universities, one of the most important targets, or say the aim of the university, is to improve the social welfare. So when we started to do research in Metaverse, we start thinking about what Metaverse can bring to us. Okay, can we improve social goods by using Metaverse? So today's lecture, I'd like to start from this perspective and discuss the architectures and also the research opportunities in research communities in universities. So this is the outline. First of all, I'll briefly introduce the foundation of Metaverse. That will be the blockchain. And then we'll review the architectural layers. And then starting from today, we'd like to review the history of Metaverse. And we also would like to compare the hot projects recently. Okay, we have lots of hot projects in Metaverse. And after that, we'll start to talk about how we're going to use Metaverse to improve the social goods. And eventually, we will discuss the research directions in Metaverse. So what it is a Metaverse? Well, I believe a lot of people started to know Metaverse from this video, right? This is the video from Facebook, now called Meta. If you check this video, you realize that I think they're talking about the virtual realities, or probably the virtual spaces that people can collaborate, can talk, to entertain together. So I do have a question here: is Metaverse equals to VR? If Metaverse it is equal to VR, then well, probably we don't need a fancy name, right? It is just a new name for virtual reality. Actually, after Facebook changed the name to Meta, a lot of people, started to talk about Metaverse. And well, because I'm doing research in academia, I got lots of messages from my friends who are interested in this area. And apparently, most of the research areas could be related to Metaverse. For example, like cloud computing, right? We need cloud computing to support the Metaverse. Or probably a lot of people from network community will say that network, it is the foundation of Metaverse as well. And in this sense, probably electricity is also the base of Metaverse. We all know that without electricity, we cannot host any Metaverse systems. Well, I would say these, quotes or claims are correct as well. But what will be the most important thing in Metaverse? Or, well, when we discuss the Metaverse, what will be the foundation? What will be the most fundamental issues we're discussing here? Why we need this new name? Probably I will always starting from this story. Okay, this is something from Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum. Right. This is the quote from his About Me page. He said he was born in 1994 and moved to Canada, and he played World of Warcraft during 2007 to 2010. But there was one day that Blizzard that removed the damaged component from his beloved Warlock Siphon's lifespell. So he said he cried himself to sleep, and on that day he realized what horror centralized service can bring, and he decided to quit. Well, I'm not sure if you ever played any MMORPG online before, but I was a crazy player. Okay, I play a lot of MMORPG games. I have similar feelings when the game developer decide to update or upgrade their server. Okay, because they always change the parameters and things might be completely changed. Your investment on the virtual world has no value anymore. Okay, so I think this is a story I would say very critical in Metaverse. What is a Metaverse? Metaverse is a virtual space. Well, probably VR and AR could be a very important component that will provide immersive experience. But I would say these virtual spaces or virtual worlds has been already exist for quite a long time, right? Go back to, let's say, 10 years ago or even 20 years ago. I mean, around 2000s, you do see a lot of virtual games, right? Virtual online games. We call persistent world games. You do see a lot of games like that, right? But why it didn't stay with those games? I believe many people switch from one game to another game. One of the problem is that the virtual items or the digital access you purchase, you earn from that game cannot persist, right? So when you switch from one game to another game, you lost everything. You lost everything. So that is a big problem when we are trying to build a virtual world. Because, well, what I can foresee is that in the future, let's say 5 or 10 years, you will see a lot of metaverse system created and developed by a lot of operators. But if you don't have a solid foundation to support the metaverse, then the problem is you will only work with one metaverse and you are not able to switch among different virtual worlds. And the money, the digital access, and everything you earn from that particular world cannot be used in another world. So that will be the same problem here, okay? A centralized server cannot guarantee the digital access for all the users, always have players in games. So that will be the motivation. We use blockchain to support the metaverse, okay? So, well, I believe many people will know blockchain, right? So blockchain, it is a technology that we're able to change a centralized server to a decentralized service. So around the blockchain technologies, you do see a lot of new concept emerging. Let's say decentralized finance, DeFi, NFT, non-fungible tokens, play to earn. AC Infinity created a new concept, right? You can play games and earn those tokens and sell them in US dollars. And nowadays we're talking about GameFi, how you're going to improve the financial activities in game world. So with blockchain, things become easier. Always say, it becomes possible for us to really own a digital asset. So first of all, I'd like to quickly review Metaverse from different layers in architectures. As you can see from left-hand side, we are talking about a physical world and the virtual world, right? The physical world is the real life you're experiencing every day, and the virtual world will be the metaverse, so-called metaverse. And of course, the virtual world need to interact with the physical world through some particular interface. Okay, so from my perspective, we can classify the metaverse systems into 3 layers. The bottom layers will be the infrastructures. That will be the computational power, the communications, and the networks, which eventually establish the blockchain systems and also the distributed, decentralized storage and smart contract executions. So that will be the physical infrastructures. On top of the physical infrastructure, eventually, we would like to build up the virtual ecosystem. So in this virtual ecosystem, we will need to establish economics, finance in digital assets. And of course, in this ecosystem, we definitely need a lot of automatic systems to help us to live in that virtual world. So we need a lot of artificial intelligence, a lot of intelligence machines, agents, softwares to help us in this virtual world. And except that, something very important is the user-generated content. What is the user-generated content? It means that the participants or the users, or even say the players in the virtual world should need to participate and also contribute to the world. They're not only the consumers, but also the creator of the virtual world. This is very, very important in my opinion, because if you want to make the ecosystem in the virtual world sustainably, you will need to make sure that it is only led by operators and the developers of the world, but also it should be shared by all the people in this community. So in my opinion, UGC, user-generated content, is extremely important in virtual world. And between the ecosystem and infrastructures, we will need to enable the interactions. So we all talking about VR and AR nowadays when we mention metaverse. Why? Because VR and AR, it is kind of like the ultimate format of immersive user experience. We hope the players, the users, feel comfortable in this world. They feel real in this virtual world. So that's why VR and AR become a very hot topic in most of the communities talking about metaverse. In fact, besides VR and AR, we do have lots of new technologies, for example, like the brain-computer interface proposed by Elon Musk, right? They have lots of novel technologies to help us that we are able to use our mind to control the virtual world. Of course, it will be a very promising area as well, because it will actually solve the problem of human-computer interface. And also, sometimes in some metaverse, we might want to focus on the interactions between the physical world and also the virtual world. We would like to synchronize the data in these two worlds. In that sense, we need a new idea that will be sometimes we refer to digital twin. So digital twin, it is the physical copy in the digital world. So digital twin is also very important in many metaverse systems. Though some of the metaverse system might be completely different from our physical world, but some of them might be identical or sharing same data. Another very important thing in interaction layer will be the content creation interface. As I mentioned, user-generated content will be very important in metaverse. So how are we going to enable easier and also unique creations from our users? It is a very important work in this area. Actually, our lab has been working on this area for quite a long time. You might see some new publications recently. So there will be different layers. So this is a quick summary. In my opinion, the most important thing, always at the foundation of metaverse, it is tradable, negotiable digital assets, and also transparent and immutable rules facilitated by smart contracts. These two are the digital foundation of metaverse. Based on these two, we might enrich the user-generated content so that all the players, the users in this community can participate and enrich the metaverse. And on top of the user-generated content, we can talk about the immersive interactive experience that will be facilitated by VR, AR, and probably brain-computer interface as well. So that will be my perspective on metaverse definitions. So based on this definition, I would like to quickly review the history of metaverse. Well, we all know metaverse is coming from a very famous novel written in 1992. That will be the Snow Crash. But before 1992, we can also see some preliminary forms of metaverse. Actually, before 1981, you will see a lot of card games, or we said those games played by people, okay? For example, like Dungeons and Dragons. Those games could be card games or could be like discussion games without a real computer support. But that will be the prehistory of metaverse because they are actually creating an experience, a virtual experience, okay, without any help from the digital access. After 1992, okay, the birth of the internet, we started to use computer to connect people. So while between 1994 and 1992, you do see some MUD, okay, which is called MUD, multi-user world. So we can see that, for example, like Mush, okay, those text-based online games. You can connect it to the internet, and by typing, okay, some symbols or commands, you're able to build up a virtual experience among different players. In my opinion, this is a very important step of Metaverse because we started to have UGC stories from the users. Players, they started to discuss with each other, okay, trying to create new narratives among the internet. Okay, they are hardcore players, though they don't have any rich graphic user interface. After the 1992, the Snow Crash novel was published. Actually, the 3D graphics become possible in computer research communities. So we do see a lot of new metaverse. That will be the three-dimensional world and with virtual economies. So for example, like active worlds, you do see the graphic user interface. It will be more immersive for the players at a moment. Okay, as you can see from the picture, well, at a moment, that will be very high quality images already. Things become crazy after internet become very popular. Okay, more and more people started to use the internet to connect to each other. So after 2000s, we do see a lot of new systems proposed and adopted by a lot of players. For example, one of the most important, in my opinion, virtual society will be the Second Life. Okay, we all know Second Life was well, technically it's not a game, right? I mean, from definition of game developers, it is not a game. They don't have any goals, they don't have any specific playing rules, and they don't have any particular rewards and published for the players. Instead, it is an open society that everyone can create virtual items and sell to each other. So that will be the second life. And we all know Roblox, right? Lots of people talking about Roblox as the first metaverse. But in my opinion, it is a tool that connecting people so that you're able to create games for others. Minecraft, it is way more open to most of the users because it's relatively easy for the players to create architectures, landscapes by using the cubes, or we said the voxels, okay, voxels. And while we would say that the 49, it is not the metaverse, but it is very popular in this society because, well, we all know Travel started the first online concert in Fortinet. So it became a phenomenon. We all know Justin Bieber is hosting his Metaverse concert this recently as well, right? So I think that there will be a very important, we said, the remarkable events in this society. So I put it here, okay? Things become even more interesting when blockchain was involved. So we will say that will be the new year of Metaverse. We have blockchain empowered Metaverse. So crypto voxels, Decentralization, those new Metaverse, they will facilitate the user's access in the blockchain so that people will actually own the digital access rather than, well, playing stuff or using the virtual access from the operator's server. So this is a quick summary regarding the features of the Metaverse. I will say, okay, from this figure, this is a quick summary about the features. As you can see, UGC, okay, is important because it is almost equal to sustainability of the system, right? Without UGC, we will always led by the operators, okay? And as you can see, AR and VR is still on its way. We don't have many supports of VR and AR, okay? Even though some of them support VR and AR, but it's just an additional feature. Most of the players won't use VR and AR to play that game. And as you can see, blockchain, it is the change. I believe in future 5 years, if you're really creating a metaverse, you definitely need to adopt blockchain. I would say without blockchain, it is a fake metaverse, in my opinion. I won't spend my money and time on that particular metaverse. And probably you might want to say that, well, is Infinity a metaverse? Well, I do see lots of articles and research papers discussing Infinity as metaverse as well. Well, I would believe metaverse is Infinity is important, okay? I mean, before Infinity, probably most of the public will know that you are able to earn money from a game. Well, so probably it is the first game that broadcasting the play to earn to the public, okay? And especially YGG, okay, they have creating a new financial models for publics to join this game. However, usually I won't say it is a metaverse because they don't have any particular components for UGC, which means that it is still a game led by the company. So I would say that will be a blockchain game. Okay, it is a pretty good blockchain game, but still it is not UGC. It is not metaverse. So here I'd like to quickly review some projects recently. Okay, I know probably all of you know these projects. Okay, the most famous one will be Crypto Voxel. It is, I believe this is more like a Minecraft twin. Okay, in the decentralized world, you are able to create voxels to create landscapes and architectures. You're able to purchase the land and start to build your world in blockchain. Okay, and Decentraland, I would say it is more like a copying the idea of Second Life. Okay, so trying to do a decentralized Second Life in this society, and apparently they're adopting low poly styles, looks much better. Okay, and the last one is Sandbox. Okay, well, Sandbox is still under development. By the end of this month, according to the announcement, we will start to use Sandbox services. Apparently, Sandbox has the similar idea with Roblox. So players can create games, okay, by using their resources, and you can of course create your resources and upload it to the second market as well. Okay, so this is the Sandbox. As you can see, these are the editors for voxels, and they do have a marketplace for you to trade. Okay. Well, a lot of people started to talk about Metaverse because of the Facebook changed their name to Meta. But if you check the stock price of Meta, well, you don't you feel like, well, this change might doesn't change a lot in Facebook. But well, after Facebook changed the name to Meta, as you can see, the price of the tokens for Mana, which is the tokens for Decentraland, and the Sand, the tokens for Sandbox, really increased a lot, right? I mean, maybe 4 times or even 5 times. So I believe the core members in the decentralized world, or say that Metaverse, will be more interesting in blockchain-based Metaverse. So as you can see, well, the investment coming up. Here we have the quick summary and comparisons between these 3 hot projects. Of course, there are more. Okay, Somnia or something, right? Well, I just compare these 3. Apparently, the crypto voxel and Decentraland, they're adopting an open world idea. Well, Sandbox currently it seems it's a room-based because it's adopting the Roblox, but I don't see it now. Okay, probably because they're also selling the land. So eventually, probably will be open land plus room-based solutions. For all styles, the crypto voxel and Sandbox are more like a voxel. Okay? Why they adopt voxel? Because it's relatively easy for the players or the users to generate contents. Low poly is relatively harder, right? I mean, the bar for creating contents with low poly will be even more difficult. So probably will discourage people to contribute to these to NFTs and everything. Regarding the platforms, the crypto voxel and Decentraland, they're using web. Why using web? Because it's easy, okay? Well, I will send you a URL. You can click URL, you can visit my places. It's easy, okay? So the accessibility is much better for crypto voxel and Decentraland. Well, according to the information, the Sandbox will be based on Unity, okay? Modification on Unity, which means that you might need to download the clients, and it will be difficult, okay? It will be rather difficult for people to access the resource in Sandbox society. So that will be a quick comparisons. So that will be the technology parts. Now I'd like to briefly discuss the what Metaverse can bring to this society. Okay, we summarize into 4 directions. The first perspective is accessibilities. Okay, these are 2 examples. One is the UC Berkeley hosting their graduating ceremonies in Minecraft, and then also the concept of Travis Scott in Fortnite. Well, apparently, these kind of virtual experience will improve accessibility a lot. Okay, I mean, nowadays, especially after COVID-19, it is difficult for people to travel and move. But sometimes we do need to gather. We do need to deliver important information to the public. So accessibilities will be quickly improved if the world adopts virtual reality and also the metaverse systems. Personally, I have been working in university for quite a long time because of the COVID-19. To be honest, the university has been shut down for quite a while, you know that. And we use Zoom or even other online platforms to deliver lectures. Well, apparently it's pretty accessible for most of our students, even for international students. Okay, so that will be the accessibility part. Diversity, we all know that the virtual world is completely different from real world. In real world, we have limited resource, okay, including the land and everything. So those limited resources will make it difficult for people to develop real diversity because, well, technically humans are competing for resources. But in virtual world, in Metaverse, diversity is relatively easier. Okay, you are able to do whatever you want in the virtual world. Of course, there might be restrictions eventually, but there are unlimited worlds. It's relatively easy to express yourself in different characteristics and different domains. Okay, so if you check the Second Life, you realize that they have lots of classifications on different spaces, and you are able to choose the circles you like. Equality. We all know that nowadays most of the big companies, big societies in the metaverse are adopting DAO, right? DAO is important because, well, it improves equality. We can vote on the directions, on the future of one particular product or particular company. And of course, because this is a virtual world, right? So we don't have to worry about the language problems, okay? The skin colors, okay? Different nations. We are forming a new nation, or we say we are forming a new country of the world by voting, by using a unique cryptocurrency. Humanity. Well, we all know humanity. It is a it is a fundamental need for humankind. And apparently digital world, especially a blockchain-enabled metaverse will improve the humanity because more and more people will started to transforming the physical world into the digital world. Okay, here we have some examples. For example, for Assassin's Creed, we have Notre Dame de Paris modeled, right? So we in 2019, when the Notre Dame was suffering from the big fire, we do have a digital heritage here, okay, as the copy. And we do see a lot of creations in Minecraft, for example, like Forbidden Cities, and also lots of new digital access that are transforming our heritage to a digital form, which could be forever, okay, immortal in the blockchain communities. So these are very important things or benefits that Metaverse can bring to us in real world. So based on this idea, we built up our Metaverse in our university as well. So this is the Chinese University of Hong Kong Shenzhen Metaverse. This is an online community that we built for our students. We are adopting the digital twin idea. So we are actually modeling the whole campus into digital formats. And based on that, we have some specific features for the Metaverse we considered. For example, we do have a user-generated content editors so that you are able to create contents. Okay, based on those contents, you are able to decorate your dormitories, you're able to share your views and everything in this virtual world. And of course, we definitely need tokens, right? Without tokens, it's difficult for us to support the liquidities and everything in this metaverse. So we do have a token. And what's more important is that we are trying to use a new format to deliver the tokens instead of using staking and everything. Well, you will be delivering tokens by your location. Okay, so of course, the rate of the tokens will be controlled by a decentralized smart contract. This smart contract will be voted by the students. Okay, so for example, we encourage students to go to libraries in daytime rather than stay in dormitory. So the dormitory, okay, the token rate for dormitory will be reduced in daytime, while the libraries and lecture halls will be increased. Okay, in the night, in the midnight, probably we hope you can have a rest. So the rate in the dormitory increased. So it's more like an incentive mechanism for students. Okay, so that they are able to creating a better life behaviors in this campus. They can use the token to do exchanges, to buy things, and also we are actually doing some coupons in our university, so you can actually use the token to purchase in this university. So that will be our understanding on the social welfare and also our actions on this perspective. So here I would like to discuss about the research directions, or we said the perspective, the researchers. Well, if you want to participate in Metaverse, well, there are different. It is the most intuitive one, the human-computer interaction, the HCI. You might want to do research in VR, AR, MR, or BCI, or other. Okay, rather than on top of these equipments, you can build up a lot of devices. For example, like I'm not sure if you know, the Meta just released the glove. Okay, the glove, so that you're able to experience. That will be the haptics in human-computer interactions. So these are something providing immersive experience for players, for users, so that the virtual world become part of their life. And from the game developers community, we might want to do research in user-generated content or even AI-generated content, because using UI, UGC is not enough. AI-GC will help to enrich the world in a short time. A lot of people will also do research in MetaHuman. What's MetaHuman? Well, usually we're coming from computer graphics community will do that. So MetaHuman, it is a way of creating virtual human so that it looks real. Okay, it's not only about AI, but also regarding the appearance of the digital human. Okay, for example, like how the skin looks like, how the hair looks like. Okay, so it's all related to CG research. And of course, there will be a very important research. There will be blockchain. Okay, new models, new ideas, new ecosystems for DeFi and GameFi. Of course, for lower layers, we might want to build up solid layer 2 solutions, cross-train solutions, so that we're able to connect different games and also improve the performance in different metaverse. So that will be my views on different perspective of the researchers. Regarding the research field, I would say the crypto or say the blockchain community is the most active research in this area. And nowadays we're looking for UGC. Okay, this doesn't mean larger than, it means that the future next move. Okay, and once you want to make the metaverse accepted by the public, the interactive technology is important because most of the users in public, they will need easier access to the metaverse systems. And from my perspective, the first sophisticated area will be finance. Okay, without a solid and sustainable financial systems, it's difficult to encourage people to participate. And then game and entertainment will be definitely the first need, because when people come here, they want to have fun, right? And after that, people will realize that, well, social networks are very important. We need to connect it to each other, build up our social status and connecting to each other in this virtual world. This is a quite kind of like an advertisement. We do have a publication this year. We submitted this paper on this summer, and it was published last month in ACM Multimedia, ACM International Conference on Multimedia, which is the most famous academic conference in multimedia domain. This paper was published in October 17, and has been month, and according to the ACM Digital Library, it has been downloaded for more than 1,000 times. So I believe lots of researchers has been started to interested in metaverse research, and I believe there are lots of people will be interested in this area. And regarding the metaverse, as I said, okay, game is part of it, and probably game is one of the most important thing in the first stage of the metaverse development. We have been doing this work for quite a long time. Okay, since 2018, we have been starting and publishing research papers in IEEE conference on games, and also Foundation of Digital Games, those famous game academic conferences. We're talking about the features of blockchain games, the security and system design levels of the blockchain games. We also discussed how we're going to connect different games and how we're going to connect different blockchains. Okay, so these are some of our publications before. If you're interested, you can check those papers and online. You can download that from lots of open source community as well. So regarding my thoughts on the future, well, I believe in future 5 to 10 years, there will be a lot of parallel metaverse. Okay, you won't see one company ruling everything. You will see a lot of metaverse in different domains or for different particular circles. So these people will form their metaverse. Okay, but it won't be a problem. Okay, we don't need a unified metaverse at the first beginning. Because why? Because we are able to use their tokens, right? These tokens could be exchanged in the DEX with AMM. So nowadays with the DeFi support, we will actually have interoperable tokens. And what I'm looking for the next step is interoperable NFTs. I believe many startups are working on these areas. So we are able to build out one set of NFTs that could cross different games, or we say in different parallel metaverse. That will be a recent future happening in 1 or 2 years. So I believe a parallel metaverse won't be a hurt. Okay, instead, it will enrich the diversity in this virtual world. It's a good thing. Of course, I would like to quote from the former president of CUHK, which is Dr. Gao, Charles Gao, which is also a Nobel laureate as well. He said that, well, he always encouraged the young researchers that, well, you don't want to believe what I said, because I don't believe what the expert has said either. What metaverse is interesting for me, because in the crypto society, you do see lots of new ideas coming up. Okay, it is not only for researchers, but also for everyone. Okay, everyone participate in this community. I do see lots of innovative ideas. I believe in future 1 or 2 years, you will see something new that you cannot imagine now. Okay, so that will be something very, very important in this community, creative innovation and creativities. Okay, so that will be the Q&A sessions. I do have Twitter, so if you're interested in research progress, you can follow me on the Twitter, and you probably want to send messages directly in the Twitter as well if you have any questions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the lecture. We have a few questions for you, Professor Cai. The first question is, how will guild like YGG versus AI guild in the future?
You mean YGG versus what?
The AI guild.
Well, actually, I'm not an expert in this area, but YGG is the most famous one or the most popular one. So we have been studying the YGG community for quite a long time. To be honest, I feel like there will be still a lot of problems in YGG. I mean, especially the organization itself. I mean, the way they recruit the players is not fully decentralized. I mean, it still relies on the scholars and relies on the managers. So one of my students, PhD student in my group, is trying to develop a new idea, develop new models for recruiting players in this community. But still, the paper is under discussion. We haven't published that work yet. Yeah, but so I believe there's still a lot of spaces for people to work on. I mean, yeah, that would be my idea regarding these kind of ecosystems.
All right, very interesting. The second question is, what are the big differences between the Metaverse project in universities and other projects? Or in another word to say, what makes a Metaverse project in university unique?
Well, that's a very good question. Actually, the reason we said this is a university project because first of all, it's relatively small. The scale is relatively small. Okay, it is only available within our campus, so that it will be easier for us to connect the physical locations to the virtual world. So, as I mentioned, okay, there might be different kind of metaverse, and in our perspective, in our practice, we prefer to connect the virtual world to the physical world more. Okay, so by adopting a university prototype, it's easy for us to do that. For example, you're building a university, a city layer or a complete virtual metaverse. Then you are able to adopt these physical data, okay, to facilitate some interesting interactions. So that will be my perspective. Yeah, and also for university, we do have lots of students, okay, with similar age, with similar schedules. So we are developing a lot of activities and events for the students. Okay, again, it is kind of like a online and offline connectivities. Yeah, so that will be something I feel like is unique in our project.
All right, thanks. Thank you for answering. Our third topic is the bridge Web 2 and Web 3 Metaverse and Middlewares from Mr. Suji Yan, and he is the founder of Mask Network. Mr. Yan, are you ready for the speech?
Hello, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Hello, nice and clear.
Yeah, great. Happy to share my opinion and yeah, ready for a speech. Yeah. How long do I have, by the way?
30 to 40 minutes. It's up to you, and we will have a QA. Depends on the time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So should I start?
Yeah, it's your turn.
All right. So 1 second. All right, so thanks for inviting me for this Metaverse event, and glad to meet developer, the community, and the other founders, and professors and other scholars from the academic. So today I would like to share the bridge between the Web 2.0 and to Web 3.0, or how can we migrate ourselves from the Web 2.0 and Web 3.0, and what's the relationship between the Web 3 password and the Metaverse password, and how I see that the mass network is a key infrastructure inside, and why the developer is important in this field as well. Right. Okay. So first, I would like to share, before we go into Web3 and the Metaverse, I'd like to share about the Web 1. Like why we have Web 1 and what is Web 1.0 to many of us, because Web 1 is pretty much like 20 years ago, right? Actually 25 years ago. So we have a lot of history, we have a lot of materials to look into the time back there in the 90s, like why would people have the Web 1. And no one mentioned Web 1 at that time, actually. People just roughly refer this as the internet or the digital revolution that communicate people in a magical way. And World Wide Web, which is the Web 1.0 technology, is definitely a key component into it. So what happened in the 90s is the majority of the users are stuck and controlled by the Microsoft. Where he's like super rich and famous for his ask. He's still an ask for even now, but back in the 90s, that's his pyramid, the case in 90s is everyone stuck in the monopolized software system, the internet or the World Wide Web back in since 1992, that Tim Berners-Lee first invented the way that HTML to write the web page and the communication protocol above it. When Mark Henderson back in UFI, who invented first commercial browser inside Windows called Mosaic, and later changed the name to Netscape Navigator. So until then, people really have the access to easily access the internet or the Web 1.0. Before that, they don't really have the access. They have to go learn some terminal stuff and type some command line, and then be like a geek. That's the only way you learn the internet or use the internet. Then thanks for the Netscape Navigator and that's more hint about the end of the Netscape to AOL for billions. The antitrust issue. So when law case with the United States federal government. So that's the background of Web 1. We also imagine a very, very fancy and very open world. It's like when people in the 90s to imagine a new world of the internet or Web 1.0, they say, oh, it's open, it's fancy. You can control something, you own something, you own your data, you own your land, you own your NFT, it doesn't matter. It's all about the imagination of the open future. And unfortunately, we're facing this similar problem. There's a monopolized company that is trying to grab everything and fuck over everything. And clearly, the owner is an asshole. The owner is like Mark Zuckerberg, right? And he's trying to change his company's name to Meta to steal like our precious jewelry of our, collective achievement for the metaverse in Web 3.0. Also the Libra, I didn't need to mention that, but I guess the audience knows what's happening for Libra and Meta. It's basically you want to enter a new space. So why people can leave Facebook and let's say Twitter, even though Twitter is more friendly, why people can leave those major platforms and just join a new one? It's mainly due to the centralized ID, the data, and the social graph by monopolized platform. It's really hard to say, hey, let's just go to Metaverse. Okay, how do you go to Metaverse? From where, right? You have to from somewhere, and the somewhere is likely to be Facebook. Wow, it's glad that people figure out that, oh, okay, I don't really have a place to go to Metaverse. I have to, fix our current problem first. So that's why we have the mass network at the very beginning. And in the first idea came out in 2016, and then later we formed a company, we raised money for that in 2017. So the mass network is trying to say, hey, we become the layer on top of the existing today's huge giants like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, doesn't matter, YouTube. And then add all the Web3 feature, including Metaverse feature on top of it. And then make sure that these platforms don't have the capability to view it or control it. And also they don't have capability to stop you to use it. So, for example, what the functionality is important for the future of Metaverse or the future of Web3? Here's just some examples that we feel is pretty important, and we make it features of the mass network. So first, encrypted message encryption. Privacy, definitely important, right? Otherwise, you don't want to be naked to network, right? Sending money, that here I use the Red Pockets, like a campaign we use. Without KYC to send money freely, and also decentralizedly. Trading is also very important. You have an NFT, you have a social token, you have a metaverse land. You don't want to give that to a bank. You want to trade that freely. You want to trade that on top of the existing platforms, right? You want to have the way to files, to store files permanently and decentralized, so that AWS or Amazon cloud service don't really cut your cable and make like your file disappear. You want also fundraising. Here I use Gitcoin as an example. Gitcoin is the largest fundraising platform for the Ethereum Foundation, the Ethereum community, and the DAOs. So it's very important that you can raise money, you can just express your opinion freely. So here are just examples of what we can do on top of existing platforms. So, okay, back to the real users. How this is important to real users. We just give a few examples. And today's topic is not about the mask, but I want to share what we experienced, so to the next generation founders can understand why it's important, right? So the first thing about the freedom of sending money, we partners with OGs of Ethereum like Vitalik, and also the OGs of DeFi protocol, MakerDAO, many other DeFi protocols to send over the DAI, the cryptocurrency decentralized coin on Twitter, and it's 2020 February, before COVID, and everyone loved that. Is also that's time that gas fee was so cheap. Everyone sending over on top of the Ethereum and Twitter. And the fun thing is Twitter don't know what's happened, right? There's no way to stop it. You can also send it on Facebook and send it on Reddit, any platform. So that's important that we see sending money. You can also to buy and sell stuff. Then we can able to directly buy and sell NFTs on Twitter, right? That's connecting with Valuable and OpenSea. Pretty much that's the largest platform for NFTs. So what can we do? You can just see here's a Twitter page, but you can see that the this NFT are rendered into something you can click and interact using a button, so you can make offer right on top of Twitter. And the offer actually went through OpenSea to interact directly with the Ethereum smart contract. Then here's a video. Oh, sorry, it's not working. I'm going to show you guys later. Sorry, that's the PowerPoint problem. And then we can also share the Web3 gallery. What that mean? Like, unfortunately, the Web2 don't really have the capability to see the Web3 NFTs or the Web3 Metaverse land, etc., etc. We're also founding member of Blue Sky, so we actually pitched the idea to Twitter, and Twitter have their own official attempt. But the overall idea is you have something in the Metaverse, but you should able to display that on top of the existing platform like Twitter and Facebook, while simultaneously you want to make sure that these items and lands and NFTs does not owned by the platforms, but also as more owned by yourself. So it's using the platform as infrastructure. So partner with the RC3 is another cool protocol we invested, and it's really a cool idea to aggregate all this kind of like Web3 items and Web3 footprints. So we can display that thing on the Twitter page, and the people can interact directly. And also the PFP avatars, like the NFTs becomes your avatars on Twitter. This is available right now on the Mass Network. For Twitter, I think they have their official version coming pretty much next week or next few weeks or next few months. You can try it out. You just go to mass.io and download the extension and change your avatars NFT PFPs into real profile avatar on Twitter, so everyone knows that you have an NFT. That's the same thing for the NFT avatar. We can show you guys later. And then the most funny thing came that even the Twitter founder Jack Dorsey was lured by this functionality, and he actually sold his first tweet as an NFT for $2.9 million. So this time you own your tweets. It's just like you own your metaverse land, you own your metaverse avatar, you also own your data, right? And what's the data used for? Well, computation, advertisement, maybe something else, but maybe just for fun, right? So the first tweet in the human history is from Jack Dorsey, just sitting at my tweet. It's the first ever tweet ever sent it over in human history, and the Sand platform is trying to monetize for the creators to mint the tweets as NFTs. Mass Network become one of the partners and strategic investors, and like they did a crazy job that one day Jadasi just randomly show up, say, hey, I want to just sell my tweets as the NFT on Twitter. And then this money actually went into his own pocket and he donated to the African people. And that's the amazing part, that the platform don't own the data. The platform just be the infrastructure for your data, and your data become NFTs. So later on, maybe this Jadasi tweet gonna be hanged in a metaverse museum built by Chain ID or Dapper Lab. There will be a tweet hanged over there, and then you can display this metaverse museum on your Twitter page. It's the compatibility that eventually make this infrastructure just a layer of display the user experience, the user UI UX, not holding the data anymore. So these are just examples of what we can do. And I wanted to show you guys some real developer thing that the developer were able to do using Mass Network. So after you install the Mass Network, you can also see here is a Mass Lab, and there's many different kind of extension or decentralized applet installed here. I wanted to introduce one NFT Revolution. It's really cool application. So what can this thing do? We all remember the Zynga, or in Chinese, the Tousai game back in years ago, right? So what we can do is we in Mass provide a general use case of the SDKs. So the user can enjoy these SDK freely to build something on top. So the other team, Mint NFT team, they build something on top. It's very fun. You see this loot thing. I can drag it over here and there, and you can change the loot into some like other NFT, like or some decentralized land, and you can have this small room for the loot on top of the Twitter, and there's no way for them to figure out what's happening. Here's a small video for this functionality. So maybe one day you're gonna see Axie Infinity. You're gonna see all different kind of game to earn, play to earn games like the Tile Arena or this kind of arena. And there will maybe a Twitter battleground, Twitter arena, or Facebook arena that's over top of existing platforms that NFT is digital avatar and fight with other people's NFT. And you make friends, and you send message, you send money freely. Eventually, I think the Metaverse is going to build on top of the existing Web 2, and also Metaverse is a part of Web 3. And we are not really leaving the Web 2 to the Metaverse. We're just staying here and gradually change the Web 2 into something Web 3. And also, we're going to onboard ourselves into the Metaverse. So it's not really saying we have another 1 billion user out of nowhere to join the Metaverse. No, it's say the existing users are becoming have more control over their own data, of their own identity, of their own asset, and eventually they become part of the Metaverse citizen, that they can vote, they can choose their own governance system in the Metaverse, in DAO, They can select their best currency because there's free of currency, free of money. They can select who's going to be the representative. Might be an NFT, might be anonymous like a DAO delegate. You're gonna have immerse experience and huge freedom that you never expected before in this like a new Web3 and Metaverse land. That will just homebrew from the Web2. So that's about the mass network and connecting the Web2 and to the Web3, also Metaverse. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so maybe you have some QA. I will make a double check.
Yeah, if you have any question, please go ahead and love to answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one question. So will Musk collaborate with YGG later? Because I see Musk is very interested in Web 2 to Web 3.0. Yeah, I should say that. So YGG is very interesting for the game guild. So will Musk do some collaborations with them later?
Yeah, I haven't talked to my GG. Suji haven't talked to YGG founder personally, but we have other conversation ongoing through the common investors and through the other collaborations. So my opinion for the game, play to earn and GameFi and like those guilds they're just huge Web3 labor unions and that gather our effort and gather our work hours and eventually gather our data together into something new. So yeah, definitely I think it'll be something we can do. And there might be even games on top of existing Web2s, and maybe the Metaverse can build on top of existing ones instead of have a new entry point. That's something I always believe.
So another question will be, what do you think about Metaverse nowadays? We see Sandbox, we see Decentralization, we see crypto workflows. Will they have some collaboration with Musk in the identity or in the crypto assets or NFTs?
Yeah. So one thing we insist is, I think the Metaverse should be very open-minded and have very good composability. So the key is like if you own I can show you this later. So if you own Mana land, Decentralization land, or Sandbox land, you own an avatar, it can all display through Mask on the existing Web2 platform. So you can have an avatar on Twitter, you can have all these things. You don't need to worry about the composability as long as it's an EVM compatible public chain. Right, as long as it's not really a database, it's not something on chain you can able to share that with the Mask and integrate it easily because it's all open system. They'll try to compete each other, but I think they're also super open to collaborate together to also build something better than the Web2. That's something I think is very, very true and it's happening. So. Yeah, maybe in next few, there's a small land and there's a small building. There's a small avatar, and you pay me $5. I can $5 die. This small avatar can answer you some question or can do something for you. So maybe that's something gonna come true very soon. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the speak, Suji. And so here is the end of day one, I guess. So if you still have questions, we'll be posting our Discord channels on the chat window. Please feel free to join us and have fun. Also, a quick reminder for tomorrow's schedule, we'll have topics related to crypto art, and it will be fun and make sure you don't miss it. Again, thank you for everyone attended today, and the lectures are really amazing. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and you guys have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.